Tonight we're going to talk about the worry tree. So that's the worry tree. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Hi, you're with Scott. It's midnight, it's always midnight. This is Mental Health Monday on the live stream. Mental Health Monday, what we're going to be doing every Monday is providing a place that anyone can come and talk in chat if they've got things they want to talk about mental health on any topic. Bear in mind it is live on Twitch, and I'm going to be putting these videos on YouTube, so you know, bear that in mind. And I've got a few ideas to raise and talk about, because I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have a chat flooded with suffering people on day one. But if anyone wants to join and talk, then feel free. That's what Mental Health Monday is all about. And along the way, I'll try and bring some support, some help. That's the number for the Samaritans. It's a UK based charity, and that's their email. You can just talk to them if you feel depressed. Specifically, if you feel really depressed and suicidal, do talk to them. But that's there as a support that, you know, is beyond what I can offer. So that's there. Okay. And I'm going to start by offering a couple of ideas to help combat anxiety. That's where we're going to start, because that's where all this stream, the videos, the YouTubing, it's where it all started from. I used to watch ASMR videos to help me sleep. I used to feel anxious, and through a process of learning and seeking help, I managed to combat that, and now I don't feel so anxious. In terms of depression, I've always felt depressed all my life and had various support networks for that as well. So I can now deal with that. I'm not saying that I'm going to be able to fix everyone's problems. I'm not the oracle of knowledge on all mental health problems, but I can be what's the word? Like a middleman, like, to help people engage with support and to help raise conversations about things. I'm going to try and keep this low key, nicely, speak softly, so that I can upload it to True Binaural. I might not upload all of these videos to True Binaural. I might not upload all of them to YouTube. If you don't want me to upload something that we talk about to YouTube, just tell me and we don't have to. But the idea would be to present some of these ideas to the True Binaural audience, because some of them suffer with anxiety. Right. So, the first idea is worry time. Worry time. Worry time. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic beer. Actually, the first idea is give up drinking. That's a great tip. Non-alcoholic beers are easily available. They give you that fake cigarette, you know, placebo effect, when sometimes you think, oh, I just want to knock the top off a beer, and you know, it really helps if you're going to try and reduce the amount you drink, or maybe give it up entirely. Alcohol makes you feel depressed, it makes you feel anxious. Not when you're drunk. When you're drunk, you're not like, oh, anxiety. You're, you know, up in that high drunk space. But when you come down, and the days and weeks that follow, it adds to your anxiety. It takes away from your life. So that's why I don't drink, and that's why I think the first tip for anxiety, hello Fortnite Queen 1991, that's a member of our Fortnite team. We're going to think of a name, and then hopefully I'm going to convince them to play a different game other than Fortnite, because I find it so stressful. Anyway, look, Non-alcoholic beer, that's tip 1. See how that goes. Tip number 2. Today we're going to talk about worry time. And everyone worries. Everyone feels anxious. It's a natural response to things happening in the world. We're not able to control everything that happens in the world. I'm going to have to try and talk quietly because it's going to try and go on true binaural. I've got to remember that. We're not able to control everything in the world, and things are going to happen, like bad things. They're going to make you feel bad, right? That's just a fact of life that we're all going to have to learn to deal with. You're going to worry about things. There's going to be things that happen in the future that you can't control, that seem important enough to dominate your mental processes. You're going to worry about things. That's natural. That's part of being human. That's what happens when you have thoughts and aims and goals and fears, you know. So you're going to worry. That's going to happen. That's okay. Some of your worries are going to be really rational. They're going to be things that you should be worrying about, like I don't want to put worries in your head. That's not what I'm here for. So I'm not going to add to your worries by making up some new ones here. But you've got some worries. Some of them are rational. Yeah, you know they're rational because they're things that are sort of mechanically happening in your life, and you're going to worry about them. You're going to have some worries that are irrational, but you're not going to know how irrational they are every time you worry about them, because they're not irrational to you. They might seem really reasonable. That's what worries are like. Some people might not think your worries are real, important, big things, because to them, they don't worry about them. But to you, they're as detrimental as wearing a concrete overcoat. You carry around these worries with you, and whether other people can see and feel those feelings in you, it's irrelevant. You are carrying those feelings with you. So that's what worry's like. I'm pretty sure that you understand these things that I'm talking about. They're not alien concepts. We're all human and we all worry. So the first idea to try and deal with some of this worry, this anxiety that can build, and 1, 2, yeah, check, you can still hear that, that can, these feelings can build and be, yeah, as real as a heart attack, yeah, and can cause you physiological responses, in the same way as ASMR can provide a physiological response. In the nice way. Yeah, worries can build and they can cause you problems. So we need to learn to deal with them. And some people don't need to learn it. They seem to just cruise on through life. They don't worry as much as other people. Fine, you know, everyone's a bit different. It's okay to worry more than some people. Maybe those people that you see cruising along actually do worry sometimes, and you just don't see it happening. You know, who knows? We were talking about thinking about other people's backgrounds in the last video. Anyway, what I'm suggesting is that you take your worries, you accept that they happen and that you're going to worry about them, but we kind of try and deal with the problem of allowing them to dominate your life. So worry time is a really simple idea. It means I'm going to allocate maybe an hour a day. I mean, it depends. At the start of this, you're going to be worrying a lot. That's why you need to deal with these problems. You're worrying a lot. So the start of this, you might want to allocate a large time. You might want to, because you are used to worrying a lot. But whatever the situation is, whether it's an hour a day, maybe your worries can fit into 15 minutes. Maybe they can't. I don't think going over an hour is a good idea, but if you want a longer session, allocate your session of worry time and put it on your calendar, on your planner, whatever. Say, today I'm going to be doing my worry time at 9 o'clock. I mean, maybe that's good for you. For me, it's bad to be worrying at night, but whatever. Yeah, let's put a worry time in the planner. And during the day, when your worries start to take over, when they start to creep up on you, when you start to find yourself drifting off or angsting, during these times, it's about learning to say to yourself, hang on, I'm worrying here. It's not directly affecting, if it's not something you're worrying about, like who's that at the door, if it's a bigger concept, something that you need to process and think about, and say to yourself, okay, I'm going to worry about that, but I'm going to worry about that later in worry time. I've got it planned on my schedule. I've got it to deal with. I'm going to worry about it in worry time. Right now, I need to go and answer the door, or I need to, cook my my breakfast, or whatever it is, As these worries come up through the day, these things that you churn over and you angst about, allow them to be thought. Say, okay, I've got that. You can even note them down. Put them in your worry time. And then at worry time, sit and have a good worry. If that's part of being human, and it's something that you need to do, to think about these things and to worry about them, maybe at that point you might consider talking to somebody. Maybe you could bring someone else in on your worry time, help you talk through your worries, but you've got your worry time. Yeah, when worry time's up, and when the hour is elapsed, if you've managed to fill the whole hour with worry, but whatever, whenever the time is elapsed, then that's it. Time's elapsed. It's time to let it go for today and do something else. And this is the next key, real key, important point, is distraction. I should have written these out in a point-by-point list, shouldn't I? In the edit, you'll see a really neat point-by-point list, right? Yeah, so look forward to that. But yeah, a distraction. It could be something as simple as going for a walk. It could be something complicated like studying English literature. It could be a hobby that you like, gaming. It could be something that is a chore, like doing the washing up, which I never do. But yeah, you find something to say, right, look, I've got to occupy my mind with something different now for this amount of time. We've done worry time, and now we're back onto distraction from the worry, or we're back onto the reality of life, or dealing with the things that day to day, you have to deal with, your life, your normal business. We're back onto that, and we're worrying again tomorrow at X time. So you've got a routine then. You can worry, you can, take on your worries piece by piece in worry time. It seems like a simple but maybe difficult thing to do if you're consumed by anxiety, but at least attempting it, even in a short term as well. If something comes up quick, I'm worrying about this now, it's best not to act impulsively and say, right, I need to schedule myself some emergency worry time. I need to worry about this thing, and I'm going to worry about it in the near future, like maybe in 10 minutes. But for now, I'm just going to get a cup of tea. I'm going to prepare myself for worry time, and I'm going to give myself a little 10-minute worry time, and then I'm going to go back to life. Yeah. So you've got this mechanic, like a gaming mechanic. Like you've got this button you can press, this strategy now, worry time, and you're in control of it. You might not be in control of everything else in life that you worry about, and we're going to come to other aspects of worry and how to deal with these things in this video and in upcoming broadcasts. But at least you've got a strategy, at least you've got something that you can create a reasonable, realistic, strategy. At least you've got a way of attacking the problem even if it's confining it to small pieces and worrying about it in an organised way. There's something to try. All right, get your homework book out now. I want you to. You've been taking notes. I'm going to be testing on you later. So that's worry time. That's number one. No one's put any like huge worries in the chat, so I think we're good. Carrying on with our examples and our conversational style. Number two, working out the odds. So this is top tip number two, but it's actually number three because we squeezed in a top tip at the start with the non-alcoholic beer, so everything's all gone to cock now. Right, number two, working out the odds. I'm trying to be calm for true binaural viewers who are going to maybe watch this late at night as a podcast. It's never going to work, is it? I'll have to do the whole thing as a whisper next. Right, number two, working out the odds. Sometimes your worries are going to be rational, and sometimes they might even be inevitable, but sometimes they're not, and sometimes you might think they're really realistic and rational, but they might seem a bit out there to other people. So working out the odds is a little game you can play with yourself when you feel the anxiety building. It's not often that you can pinpoint exactly what the thing is I'm worrying about. Maybe that comes in worry time. Maybe that's something you can learn to deal with in worry time, trying to decide what really the nucleus of the thing you're worrying about is. But yeah, it's not often that you can say, right, that's it, that's the thing I'm worried about. But when you can, you can then work out the odds. So in the chat there, heart attack. If you're anxious and you suffer with anxiety, it's quite common to feel anxious about your own physical health. A panic attack, with its rushes of blood, tightness in the chest, breathing restriction following that tightness in the chest, lightheadedness, a panic attack can often feel like a heart attack. It can definitely feel like, and if you're already anxious, then these physical symptoms of anxiety make you feel more anxious because, oh my god, my blood's racing and I'm feeling a bit, so it plays itself into a circle, a vicious cycle. It's not easy during the moment of a panic attack to try and wrestle hold of your thoughts. Often mindfulness is key in those moments, and mindfulness is something we'll go on to discuss at a later date. But yeah, focusing on a simple thing like counting colours. That's red, that's green, that's green, that's green, that's 1, 2, 3 different kinds of green, that's 3 green things, that's 5 green things. It can just focus you back in on a more logical thought routine, something like that. Anyway, we'll come to that another time. But the point I was going to make was about working out the odds. Is it a heart attack? You know, is it a heart attack? When you start to feel these feelings, if you don't try and work out the odds, then it's 100%. You in your brain, you're like, bam, I'm feeling, oh, this is it, this is the one. I'm 100%. That's why you're worried. You know, that's why you're anxious, is because you've already decided that the odds are 100, 1, odds of 1, or 100%. It's definitely happening. So you're worried. But you might try and take a step back and say, has this ever happened before? Do people usually have, I'm talking to whoever, aren't I? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to X person, Y person, Z person. So you've got different things that you worry about and different reasons why the odds might be stacked in different ways. But, you know, do people usually, if we're talking about a heart attack, do people my age usually have a heart attack? Do they usually have a heart attack with no preceding symptoms? They usually have a heart attack when they're just sat down. You know, and you can start to think about the statistics, the odds, the probabilities, and quite often, if you're reasonable about it, if you're honest with yourself, the probability that the thing that you're worried about is actually happening or going to happen, quite often, not in every case, of course, not in every case, but quite often it can be less probable than you thought. Another one that I was going to talk about later is, you know, if you're awake at night and you hear a noise in the house, it's like, you know, noise in the house, right, that's it now, I can't sleep, there's definitely someone breaking in downstairs, and they're definitely going to come upstairs, and they're definitely going to tie me up, and they're definitely going to steal. Before all that goes on, what's the statistical probability of someone being in your house at night? How often does that happen? Has it happened a lot? Does it happen a lot in your area? It might be that, you know, these things do happen, and you are right to be worried about it. You know, it might be that. It might be. But statistically, and in all working out the odds, you know, if you had to put a bet on it, if when that noise happened, I was there with you and I said, look, £10 says there's no one down there. Shake mine. Shake a bet. You know, would you bet your money there's definitely someone down there every time it happens? You know, you'd be giving me £10 every few nights. I heard a noise again. Get your wallet out. I want your tenner. Bet me that tenner. No, it's, you know, in a reasonable world, you'd say, okay, I'm worried about it, but it's not really someone down there, is it? It's just the cat's knocked the thing off again, or, you know, and the pipes make this noise when they settle at night, or there's a bird on the chimney and it's gone through the whatever. You know, these things are more likely than the thing you're worrying about. So idea number two is working out the odds. It can be confined to worry time, but often this one is useful when you're encountering a situation where you're feeling apprehensive about something, where you don't know what's going to happen, where you're letting your mind race away with you a little, where you're saying, I don't want to do X, Y, Z, this situation, because I think this might happen, because I'm worried that these things are, or I might, or, you know, whatever. That's a good time to just work out the odds. And it might change the way you think about the thing you're thinking about. It might not, you know, but it's worth a little crack, isn't it? It's worth a try. It's better than just sitting there stressing and letting your mind race away with you. At least you're providing yourself with some form of mechanical interruption, a thought process that you can use to take some form of control over your thought processes. So there's some thumbs up. We've got worry time and we've got working out the odds. There are two things that if you write them down in your homework book, you might want to try. It's a lot, this is, to be doing all in one. And if this was a professional session in a clinic or whatever, if I was your therapist, then I'd be telling you that I'm afraid our time is up. Why don't you go away and work on that and write it down in your homework book? But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to trust that you can utilize the media to, like, take this in little chunks if you need to, or listen to it all in one and try it all out at once. I'm going to trust that you know your own pace, and that you can come back to this recording of this live stream, this video, whenever you feel like it. Right. I used to have a teacher that did that. I used to have a teacher that used to go, right. And we all used to sit there going, right. Now I've done it live on the old telly. I'm not on the telly, I'm on the internet, because if I was on the telly I'd be up against Corrie, and I don't know, you know, maybe I should live stream at a different time, because Corrie's quite popular. Anyway, I'm getting off track. We are now going to get to the big one. The worry tree. This is, I don't know how big that is on your screen. As we talk about it, I will zoom it in like that, so you can have a little look. Don't calm yourself. You don't have to look at the bottom yet. Okay, we're going to start at the top. We're going to work our way down. So just chill, right? Don't get excited. It's all right. It's just a worry tree. The worry tree. This worry tree is cool, right? What this does is it helps us to go through another strategic thought pattern, right? It's our own mind. We're trying to gain some control. We're trying to live in the real world. You know, we're trying to see things for what they are. We're trying to maintain a grip in times that we feel anxious and vulnerable and worried. And we're going to do this. You know, this is something we've got. You know, you got this. We've got this, and this is going to help us do it. The worry tree. So the first thing to do is to notice the worry. That's not hard. I say it's not hard because I'm talking to people who feel about, you know, anxiety and, you know, but actually, if you stop for a minute and think about it, sometimes it is a little difficult. Sometimes you're not consciously churning something over. You're not saying it in your head all the time. Sometimes it's just something that's on the back burner. I should have tapped my back, tapped my chest then. I don't know, instinctive then. But yeah, something you know you're carrying with you that's just, you know, a background worry. Sometimes it's not something that you're able to notice easily. But yeah, noticing the worry, that's for worry time, isn't it? And this worry tree can help with worry time. So notice the worry. If you've got your homework book out, you could write down your little worry. I've got 6 examples that I'll talk through. And I'm going to talk through a really sort of vague-ish, I don't know, vague-ish one to start with. There's obviously this horrible virus around, isn't there? And people are worried about it. They're having to stay in a lot. It's tough. You know, it's tough. And I'm here on Mental Health Mondays if you're finding it tough. So my first worry that we can worry about is, will someone we know or love get sick? Just made it simple, just made it vague. I'm worried about that, you know, I'm worried if people that I know and love get sick. I don't want that to happen. So what am I worrying about is step 1 on the tree. What am I worrying about? I'm worrying if people I know and love get sick. Is this a worry? And I appreciate that you can't see that exactly. There you go. Is this a worry that a current problem... Is this a worry about a current problem or a hypothetical situation? Another way to look at this question is, can I do something about this? Hypothetical situations are not really happening. They might happen. They could happen, but they're not actually happening. But other worries, our current problems, are really happening. So is someone I know or love going to get sick? That's a hypothetical. It hasn't happened yet. I'm worried it might happen. Yeah, agreed. We'll look at the other situation there when it's not hypothetical in a minute. But yeah, so it's hypothetical. Yeah. Can I do something about this? And if it's hypothetical, let's see if we can move over. There you go. No. I can't do anything about it. I mean, maybe I can. You know, now thinking about this, can I help it if other people get sick? Well, we've been told a lot, haven't we? Wear a mask, stay indoors, maintain social distance. If you don't have to go out, don't. If you don't have to go and meet face to face, don't. There are things you can do in this current crisis that we've been encouraged to do. So I'm just going to move over a little there. Current problem, yes. Can I do something about this? Yes. Yeah, there's some things I can actually do. I can talk to the people that I'm worried about. I can say, how are you feeling? Are you staying home? Do you need me to bring anything for you? Or, you know, and there are things that you might be able to do. So there's that. Yes, yeah. So we're going to stick on yes for a minute now. It's surprising, isn't it? You know, thinking about worries can change the way you think about them. But not if you just let it go wild. You know, not if I'm sat there with no worry tree. If I'm just sat there at home going, I wonder if this, that and the other. You know, you might come to the good conclusions yourself, or you might get off track like I do when I'm chatting to you and just start, you know, going off, and before you know it, you're still awake and it's 4 a.m. and you're worried about everything that you didn't even, you know, you're worried about whether the sun's going to burn out, and it can get out of control. So we've got our action plan now. We're going to wear our masks. We're going to maintain a social distance. We're going to try and reduce social contact, stay at home as much as we can, those sort of things. What, when, how? So our next little step, now or later. And this, it's questions, isn't it? You can answer, you can talk about, you can think about. What am I going to do? Well, right now, I'm not going to do anything, am I? I'm at home. I'm not going to do anything. I could call a friend and say, do you need anything? I could call a friend and encourage them to be safe, to show that, you know, I'm thinking about them and stuff like that. Well, that's what I could do now. We could do it. We're not going to, we're on stream. I'm talking to you, my friends. But later, we could schedule it. I love schedule. Schedule. In American English and British English, there are some words that are said differently, and that's one of them, schedule. Some people might recognise it as schedule, but I like it as schedule. Schedule. Swifty. Right. Anyway, I'm trying to be calm and, you know, quite neutral for the true binaural, because, you know, for people who hear it and they're feeling anxious and mentally unwell, I don't want to be getting swifty on them, do I? Maybe, you know, it might cheer you up to watch a bit of Rick and Jorty, but now's not the time, is it? Let's get on. Sorry. Look, schedule it. Schedule it. Tomorrow, I'm going to ring my friends and I'm going to tell them to stay indoors, because what the hell are they doing? Tell them to wash their hands. Tomorrow, I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to schedule that, you know? Schedule it. Fine. Or right now, I might go and wash my hands right now, for example. You know, I'm going to do that. Right now, I'm just going to make sure I've got my hands washed again. Do it. Do it. And this is convenient, isn't it? What's at the bottom of both of these trees, right? When you do this thing, either you schedule it, like worry time, put that in the planner, or you do it now. If you're going to do it now, that's fine. Do it now. Some people like to get things done immediately. Some people don't mind about, you know, calling their friends up in the middle of the night because they just had to worry about washing their hands. But you might not want to do it immediately. You might want to schedule it. Anyway, once you've done either of those things, you let the worry go. This is not an easy step. It's not easy, but you let the worry go. You say, look, I've dealt with it now. I've gone through the tree. What more do you want me to do? Brain, brain, our wonderful, powerful, sometimes dysfunctional, old squishy pink friend. What do you want me to do with it? You want me to keep thinking about it all night? I ain't into that. I've let it go. I've got to change my focus of attention. So I'm saying to my brain, I can't even let this go. I'm going to have to put on a Rick and Jorty. I'm going to have to play a bit of FIFA or something more healthy. I'm going to have to do something else to stop me from thinking about these things that I worry about, because the worrying process is detrimental. I think we can all agree on that. Most of us, if you're here and listening to this, it's because you don't want to worry, isn't it? It's not because you think, worrying makes me, what doesn't worry me makes me stronger. Look, we're going to let it go. We're going to change the focus of our attention. That's the bottom of that little ladder. Douche. Worry tree. The worry tree. Ho, 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 ho. You might want to imagine a big talking tree, like you get in many fantasy sci-fi tropes, like a big talking tree. It's not that. It's just they laid it out in a one step-by-step thing, like a tree of choices. It's more of a tree like coders think of trees than people like me that go out in the woods. But it's still, they have actually, to be fair, they've drawn a little green Christmassy sign. You'll remember this now. You ain't going to forget the worry tree in a hurry. If this is the first time you've been introduced to it, you're going to remember it now, because I've talked about how it was a tree and it did this and it did. Anyway, look, I've got a friend called Tree. Give him a shout out. Shout out, big friend. Look, we're getting back to this. We're not talking about me and my problems. We're talking about you and yours. Although, if you want to talk about me and my problems, we're quite happy to. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. People say that all the time, don't they? Don't worry. Yeah, okay, that sorted it for me, thanks. Right, our second one that I've got. Will I be able to pay the bills? This is quite a common worry people have. Will I be able to? It's vague. I've deliberately made it vague so it could apply to everyone, so we can all think about it. It doesn't apply to me. Oh, I'm really kidding. Look, will I be able to pay? Will I be able to buy the things I need to? Will it be financially stable? Will everything be okay? I'm worried. The money, I've got the worry tree. So step one, notice the worry. Well, I've noticed that. I'm lying awake and I'm going over my thing on my phone with the bank account, and notice the worry. Yeah. What am I worrying about? Money. It's quite we talked about that just then. Sometimes they're quite easy to go through, aren't they? What more about paying the bills? Is this a worry about a current problem or a hypothetical situation? See, now the reason I picked this one, can I do something about this? Yeah? Is it a no or a yes? If you're lying in bed at night, right? If you're lying in bed at night, worrying about money, worrying about will I do this in the future, right? It might seem like a no. Let the worry go. No, it's hypothetical. Can't do anything about it. Let it go. Change the focus of attention. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Sometimes these things are. Sometimes you're worrying about the same thing every month and you always pay the bills. Sometimes you're worrying about whether this big contract's going to go, then you can't control that. Sometimes you're worrying about, you know, whether believe me, I understand this one. Sometimes you're worrying about whether they've paid you the right amount, whether they've screwed you over or not. Yeah, that happens. You know, sometimes you worry about these things, but they are hypotheticals that you can't do anything about. You know, let them go. But quite often, yeah, I can do something about this. Action plan. That little step there, action plan. What's that? Action plan on its own. Well, it might be that lying in bed at night, you can't go out and pull in the $5,000 that you need, you know, by the time you brush your teeth in the morning. It might be that. It might be that it's best to think about it later, to set it into worry time, to let it go for now. You know, it might be that. But an action plan, that's part of a plan. You know, I'm going to deal with it at this time. An action plan could be as simple as, I'm going to save the money. I'm not going to spend it for the rest of the month. It could be as complex as, I need to get a paper round, or I need to fill in these job application forms for this thing, and you know, whatever it is, it's part of your plan. You can organise that in your mind, how I should fix the problem. Whatever strategy you want, whether you're going to put it in worry time, or what, when, how, now or later. Are you going to do it now? Are you going to get out of bed at 4 in the morning and start, you know, logging on to the stock market? And is that the frame of mind that you want to take into your important financial decisions at 4 in the morning? Are you going to think of the key to all of your woes at 4 in the morning? No. It's okay. That's okay. We'll do it later. We'll schedule it. Schedule it. So let the worry go. Change the focus of attention. You know, you might want to have a meeting with your financial advisor. You might want to talk with someone that you trust. Schedule it. Schedule it. And then we'll try and let it go. It might be that you're not worrying about this at 4 in the morning. It might be that this is 1 in the afternoon. You know, it might be that countdown's just finished. You've had your toast. It's, you know, what we're going to be doing about this? Well, right now, we better start, you know, getting on it. We need to call that number. We need to, you know, fill in that form. It might be that it's within your grasp. It might be that you find you're not certain about what the action plan is. And that's part of the action plan. Let's get certain about the plan. Let's call someone. Let's talk to someone. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. If you can do it now, that's fine. You know, if your friends don't mind being called at 4 in the morning, that's an option. But majority of people, after a good night's sleep, even if it is the afternoon when you wake up and you're in a bit of a bad cycle, you know, doing it now, giving it a crack, pushing forward a little bit, having a chat with someone. It can be as simple as that. Do it now. Once you've done that, it's time to let it go again. Look. I get my finger up pointed. Don't point. You do. If you're a politician, you do this. You know, you don't point like normal people. You do that. Look, we're going to let it go, aren't we? Because you can't fix it by worrying about it 100% of the time. The worrying itself won't fix it. You've got action plans, you've got ideas, you've got strategies. The best thing sometimes, once you've done your bit of work, is to let it go again. Till the next time, you know, till next day, till next time, next worry time, next time you're going to attack this problem, next time in your schedule. You know, but until then, it might be just time to get yourself some food, to, you know, watch that next episode of whatever's on the thing. Just not beat yourself up about it all the time. And then the next time you come to approach the problem, you're going to feel a bit more, you know, ready to attack it. after a nice bit of pizza and Game of Thrones. Not, I don't. No, anyway, look. We're doing the worry tree. We're not talking about pizza and Game of Thrones. What we got here on my other list of worries that I've written down. Number 3 is someone going to break into my house. Right? And this is what I wanted to talk about because it covers two sides to this tree, or 2 sides to this problem. Notice the worry. Sometimes this worry can happen because you've just heard a noise, and we're going to talk about that. We all recognise that. We've all been there, yeah? But sometimes this worry's a bit different. Sometimes it's, I'm making every noise seem more than it is because I'm anxious. Or we are making every shake of the trees into someone skulking in the bushes in our minds. We don't know we're doing it all the time because we're in this heightened state of anxiety. Sometimes you might have seen a horror film or something. You know that edgy feeling you get when you're trying to go to bed on that edge. Sometimes you might just be living in that, you know. And is that sound, is someone going to break into my house, is spilled out from just a sort of what everyone normally gets, like when, you know, the cat knocks the jar off the side, and has spilled into a sort of more routine worry of, is someone going to break into my house? It might be you live in a certain area where crime happens and you feel vulnerable. It might be that something has happened, and when you're doing your probabilities and working out, what's the probability of this really happening, that because it's happened, you're like, well, actually it's quite high. I mean, statistically, well, it's happened. I mean, that doesn't mean it's going to happen again, but, you know, these things might be going on in your mind. So that's different from the reaction of just, there's a noise, right? So the first one we're going to talk about is this different one, this persistent worry. What am I worrying about? Is this worry about a current problem or hypothetical? Or can I do something about this? So it's a hypothetical. Is someone breaking them? Are they really? You know, if someone were to break into my house, I could deal with it because I could run downstairs and clobber them. You know, yeah. You know, you might choose to do something about it, but you can't do anything about it if there's nothing really happening, if it's all in your mind. Yeah. But there are things you might choose to do, might be able to can do, aren't there? That maybe make you feel better, like locks and arms. Sometimes they can, what am I trying to say here? Sometimes you can do maybe a bit too much. Maybe, you know, you can do things that don't seem to alleviate your anxiety, but, you know, you keep doing them all the same. I don't know. Is this ongoing worry about this example, people going to break into my house, hypothetical, or can I do something about it? Well, if it's yes, the action plan. What, when, how, now or later. If you want, you know, if you really feel like it, you can get out of bed and you can go and patrol the house. If you really feel like it, you can patrol outside. People these days use security cameras and stuff. It gives them peace of mind. But if you really wanted, you know, you can go and sit downstairs with a hammer in your kitchen, just waiting. Yeah. I mean, that's an option. But while you're doing that, you're not getting to the final point of the tree, are you? Let the worry go. Change focus of attention. You're not doing that. You're staying in the worry. You're staying in the action plan. What, when, how. Right now. Forever. With the hammer. Let's do it. I'm doing it. I'm still worried. Let the worry go. Let the worry go. Right, so now what? You know, you sat up, it's 4 AM, you've got your hammer. You've got to put the hammer down. You've got to distract yourself, change the focus of attention. It might be that, it might be that someone was trying to break in your house. But if you live in that moment every night, you're not living. And normally, day to day, you might not be thinking about it. You might not be holding that hammer while you're, making your breakfast or your lunch or watching Futurama or whatever. You might not be thinking that. So you are able to live in a world where you don't always think this thing. And if you're not, honestly, if you're not able to live in a world where you're not constantly brutally anxious, like holding the hammer, then you do, you're here, that's why you're talking about this, you do owe it to yourself to maybe ask for some help. You might recognise that it's not the same as the average standard normal. There's no normal, is there? But it's not, it's not something that's regular and routine for you to have to deal with this extreme feeling. So at that point, it's okay, totally okay, to ask for some help dealing with that, because that's quite a lot to deal with. But if, like, maybe, I don't know the percent, the majority of people, if the majority of people, you just get a bit too wound up in a problem, it's time to put the hammer down, and it's time to change your focus of attention. And it might not be easy, you might be anxious, you might be on the extreme edges, but you're going to have to make yourself a cup of tea. You're going to have to turn the telly on. You don't have to go to bed and lie there and try and be asleep if you don't feel that, but you're going to have to try and distract yourself to get back into a feeling of normality. Because in the probability scale, when you start readjusting those probabilities, when you've made the tea and you've calmed down a bit, maybe it's not somebody trying to break in. Maybe it is just the wind in the bushes. Maybe it is 5 a.m. and you've let your mind race, and maybe it's normal to think strange things at late nights after difficult times, stress. Maybe that's the case. And you know what, we're going to take a little thought break here, because it's been quite intense, hasn't it, this so far? And I'm going to talk to you about something just completely less intense, which is hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations. You heard it here first. Hypnopompic. Basically what it is when you're falling asleep, you can have hallucinations, and there's all this mad science. That's what I should call this channel, isn't it? Mad science. Yeah, you're not supposed to use these words, are you? Mad, mental. But even though I suffer with mental health struggles myself, and recognise the sensitivity of the issue in others, I still accidentally say mad and mental. Anyway, nothing bad by it. Yeah, this science, they've done a lot of studies and research to basically say, yeah, it's true. When you're falling asleep, your brain dream state, that barrier, that activity, yeah, you can hallucinate a little bit. It might seem like there really is someone downstairs, because your brain makes that happen. It might be that when you're really stressed and really tired, things that your brain hallucinates are more scary and make you feel more anxious. These are truths. And if you want to find out more about hypnopompic hallucinations, we can talk about it again on stream or something, or you can look it up yourself. What am I? I'm not your teacher. But I'm here for you, and we can learn things together, so I really enjoy it. So if you want, we can do that together some other time. Right, that was hypnopompic, whatever. We're going to just go over the worry tree one more time. with another couple of worries, because I've got a couple more written down, and it's just good exercise, you know, good mental exercise. And if you don't have lots of worries, you know, if you're not incredibly anxious all the time, it doesn't mean that you can't utilise some of these ideas. It doesn't mean that the worry tree might not be useful to you one day. Number 5, social threat. Dog walking imagined. So I used to get anxious, right, when I was walking my dog. And I did have cause to be anxious, because my dog would have bitten another dog or a person in the wrong circumstances, right? So, right, doing that. Anyhow, so that could have been real. That was real. But I also used to get anxious walking the dog, feeling this social anxiety, this threat, this sort of, how do I explain it? I used to cross the road when I would see someone coming on the same side of the road, and there'd be this anxiety in me, and it could be because I'd think, oh no, the dog might bite this person, let's cross the road. But quite often, this is going back a way as well, I don't feel like this anymore, so it's hard for me to kind of remember it as if it was me feeling it, because it feels so abstract. But quite often I'd be walking we've all probably felt this. You'd be walking somewhere. I used to walk the dog late at night as well. I used to walk him at about 10, 11, you know, late at night, so there'd be fewer people out I would be likely to encounter. But when you see someone walking on the other side of the road even, I just feel like this threat, like this fear, like this anxiety. Like, what happens if they start, you know, coming over the road? What happens if they start saying something to you? It's weird, yeah. It's weird. Is it weird? It was me, so I can say I'm weird, can't I? I'm not saying you're weird. But if you feel like this, it's not weird. It's normal. It's natural. But it wasn't real. You know, when I worked out the probabilities, has someone ever crossed the road to attack me? Well, they did once when I was a kid. A football match. I shouted an obscenity at a group of rival football fans, and they came over to remonstrate. So it was my own fault, and I didn't realise they would react that same way, but they did. So that happened. So yeah, that's happened once. But I got a reason for that. I shouted the thing, didn't I? So yeah, no, very, very unlikely. Maybe another time there was I remember a funny time that we'd just come out of a shop. In England we call them shops. We just come out of a shop, and I had some chocolate, and I remember this vaguely. A boy came from a short while away to be aggressive and to be rude, and said something aggressive and rude. So I offered him my chocolate. I said, would you like some of my chocolate? Thinking that might, maybe that's what he was jealous, like angry about, because we just come out with this chocolate. Maybe you want, maybe that would help. I know he didn't want any of my chocolate. He told me in a Scottish accent, no, I don't want any of your fucking chocolate. So let me get that clip. Yeah, no, so anyway, yeah, that did happen once, I suppose, or twice. But yeah, in general, no, like walking the dog, people aren't crossing the road to attack me. Like, they're not doing it. It's not happening all the time. But every time I'm walking past them, I'm feeling a very high sense of anxiety, of readiness, of street preparedness, whatever you want to call it. And on reflection, maybe I didn't need to feel that. So on the worry tree, what am I worrying about? I'm worrying about, is someone going to come and attack me? Are they in a social situation, suddenly going to kick off and I'm going to have to deal with it? Right. So is it hypothetical? Can I do something about it? What I can do is I can hang around in social situations where it doesn't happen. very often. I can cross the other side of the road. I can hang out with a bigger group of friends. Not at the moment because of the COVID. Can't because the COVID. You can't hang out with your friends because the COVID, Stu. Right, so, you know, there are things you can maybe, mitigate. But generally, no. If someone's going to start running across that road and attacking me, not really something I can do about it. No, not really. And it's hypothetical, isn't it? So, do I need to do anything about it while that person's walking and do I need to start shouting, oi mate, you stay off me? No, I don't need to do that. Do I need to carry a weapon? And this is something that actually happens on our streets. Young people feel threatened. They feel worried. And they think, do I need to do something about this hypothetical situation that could happen? Yes, I'm going to carry a knife. Right? So now you're walking down the street and you've got a knife. And you're walking past someone who's on the other side of the road, and in their brain they're going, who's this person coming? Are they going to attack me? What's going on? And they see you've got a knife and they think, shit! And it all kicks off. Milo, talking quietly on the internet. So, this is serious problems that happen in real world that everyone deals with. But in reality, is someone going to cross the road to come and start remonstrating with you on the average day that you walk the dog? No, not really, not likely. Is it can I do something about it, even if they were going to? No, not really. So what am I going to do while I'm walking my dog? I'm going to let the worry go, and I'm going to change the focus of my attention. I'm not going to walk that whole street thinking, when are they going to attack me? When are they going to attack me? When are they going to attack me? I'm not going to do that. I've done it. I've been in these situations. I'm not going to let that, contain all of who I am. So I start thinking about something else, start changing my focus of attention, using the mindfulness, using some of the techniques that we'll talk about in the future on how to change attention, how to change your focus of attention. But distraction, it might be that you want to call someone, it might be that you start singing the words of a song that you like, but that might not help as much as really focusing your attention on something else, like counting colours or whatever it is. You get through the situation, and initially it's going to feel like, what am I doing here? I'm anxious and I'm like counting these colours, and why am I, it's going to be a lot to deal with in the situation because you're so used to feeling the anxiety and letting it control and letting it run away. But now you're in charge. Now you've got the wheel. You're going to start to gently steer it in a different direction. You're going to get used to the feeling of controlling that. And the more you do it, the more you're going to be able to just turn yourselves back onto track. Just stop ourselves sliding down that path. And before you know it, you'll be walking the dog and in control of your own thoughts. And sometimes you'll see something and you'll have to assess if it's a threat to you. And you'll assess it, and that'll be fine. And then you'll move on. And the repeated experience of it not being a threat in the end will help to inform your future decisions. And you might always, if you're like me, you're always going to have like an eye on what's going on around you. It just seems to be inbuilt. You're always going to have this desire to watch your back. But that's okay. If someone ever did start to cross the road and yelling, you'd be okay. You've thought it through. You know what you're going to be doing. Maybe you don't. Okay, we're not going to get into that. I'm not going to teach you how to deal with people in the street that are yelling. Not in this episode. Okay, but we could move on to that. But it's not your responsibility to deal with them. Okay, not every opportunity, not just a stranger. Don't feel that I'm telling you to go and get in fights. Not at all. Right. So you're going to be informed by your experience. It's going to make your thinking easier. You're going to be able to use your mind when you need to assess threat, and when you don't need to constantly use it to assess threat, you're going to have more fun using it to enjoy life. That's the aim. That's something you're going to be able to do through following a little tree, a little worry path, a little worry plan. Yeah. Social threat, dog walking. And then the last one I've got is real, because I did actually have a real problem with my dog. My dog used to bite people. When I say people, I mean me. Like, he bit other people a little bit sometimes, but I was always involved in the situation enough to have prepared them and warned them, and only exposed him to people who I felt were capable of dealing. Like, a lot of the time he'd bite their shoes, and like, I'd tell them not to take their shoes off, obviously, and they'd stand really still, and they wouldn't like it, and it happened, and I'd think, I don't like this either, but it would never get too out of hand in that situation. The only time it ever got out of hand was with me. That's a different story, but it's something we had to deal with. Yeah. So I had this dangerous dog, this difficult dog. I knew he was difficult. I didn't make him difficult. I got him from the rescue, so that's why he was difficult. And I dealt with the problem. So what was I worrying about? My dog might bite people. Is it hypothetical? No, it's not hypothetical. It's real. Is it really a problem? Yes. What was my action plan? My action plan was sometimes to cross the road, but sometimes to muzzle, was to walk in different areas, was to adapt my lifestyle, what, when, how, all the time it was going on at home. You know, my action plan was to be on hand, to be watching the dog, to be sure that everyone knew the situation and the behaviours and what did and didn't trigger him and things like that. You know, so I dealt with it. No one got seriously hurt apart from me. But yeah, you know, we had an action plan that was real. It was something I worried about. The social threat was when another dog would come, or we'd be walking and someone have their dog off a lead. You know, what could I do about that then? I'm not going to change the focus of my attention. I had to deal with it. But because I had practiced at dealing with my anxiety, when I came to deal with those situations, and I'll be honest, my anxiety used to be, you know, gripping. It used to be gripping me. But I'd be at least not completely overwhelmed by all this other stuff, because I dealt with that other stuff. I got my mechanics working in place. I got my buttons I was, you know, pressing, my thought processes that I was, you know, actively controlling, and it allowed me to then be in the moment, being mindful, and take control when the reality of what I was worrying about was happening. So that was good, you know. It was good. It didn't mean that the things I was worrying about never happened. My dog did try and bite another dog. My dog did bite me. But it didn't mean that I was completely overwhelmed by it. At this point, I had a strategy, and I had the worry tree. So I was feeling more competent in my own ability. And that's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. You don't have to do it. You might not do it for a long time. You might have difficulty doing it. It might not come easy. But if you want to do it, it's there for you. It's not for me to do for you. It's not like someone's going to come and magic wand you into not, you know, ding, you're fixed. This is just you and your brain, and these are things that you think, and these are your options. So it's all up to you. Like, I'm not going to do your homework for you. So yeah, I'm such a nice. That's the sentiment I want you to take away from this. Is I'm always here for you, and that every Monday I will be here for you, and we can discuss for an hour or more things. We can look at strategies. I'll help by bringing what I've found useful to the table. You can bring what you find useful to the table or not. If you've got difficulties, you can talk about them. It's every Monday, GMT, 8 o'clock GMT on the old Twitch. At the moment, that's, you know, we're just starting out. So that's what we're aiming for. It's just a simple but visible service. So we can talk about mental health. So that you have safe knowledge that it's there. Yeah, that's what we're aiming for. So if that happens over the next few weeks, you'll get used to it. And so will I. Right, we've covered those things, haven't we? I'm just going to jump back to the Samaritans. I've had this up earlier. The Samaritans are an organisation that if you're feeling really depressed, you can talk to them. That's just basically what it is. It's really simple. If you're in the UK, I'm assuming this is a UK thing, right? But it's easy to go online and look up something similar in your country. It's easy to to pop on Ecosia, type in mental health support. Yeah, it's not easy to follow it through and to be brave and yeah, you can still hear me. It's not easy to be brave and talk about things always. It's not easy always, not for everyone. But then nothing is it really? You've got used to that already, haven't you? I'm pretty sure you're used to the idea that things ain't easy. So yeah, Mondays 8 o'clock GMT, or edited on the old YouTube. Be good, my little Pukkos. Be good.